Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now guys, Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo had to surrender today's sermon to the allegations that is facing as the heat from this allegation begins to reach fever pitch. I'm sure a lot of you would have seen clips already of protesters all over his churches, both in Abuja and especially in Lagos, chanting all the chants that you'd expect them to chant off the back of this allegation. So now this guy has now had to give over. I mean, there was the speculation that he would not even give the sermon today at all, and that would have been the right thing to do because the church should have stood him down, but he refused to be stood down because the church, of course, at least his church, is himself, and he decided to deliver the sermon. My own personal view will come at the end of this video, but first let me bring you this. What accuser Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo said in church about RAPE allegations. So that's the headline. What accuser Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo said in church about RAPE allegation. Now, a lot of people are having some difficulty with the fact that I am having to spell RAPE as RAPE. I'm not quite sure what the difficulty is. Of course, the word is the word, but you have to understand that there are certain words that trigger YouTube algorithms, and then your video is not promoted so much, and then it just gets put in the back burner. And RAPE is one of those trigger words that triggers the YouTube algorithm. So that's why I'm not saying it in full. So that's why I'm having to spell it out. So now you have an explanation, so you don't have to go into the comment section and make a hoo-ha about that. So again, the headline: what accuser Pastor Biodun Fatoyinbo said in church about RAPE allegation. So now to the body of the story. The embattled founder and leader of the Commonwealth of Zion Assembly, accuser Biodun Fatoyinbo, delivered his first Sunday sermon since the allegation of RAPE broke on Thursday. Although there were speculations that Fatoyinbo would not attend the service, he did. Before the sermon commenced, about 7 women gave what was tagged a causa testimony. All these women spoke separately about how they met Mr. Fatoyinbo and how their life has changed for the good. So already they are now doing like a spin, a PR stunt. Of course, we knew he would do this, a cheap stunt in my view. The cleric's wife, Omodele Fatoyinbo, started the sermon with a Bible scripture from 2 Samuel 21:1. She rejected the RAPE allegation against her husband and said he would never do such a thing. Mr. Fatoyinbo then climbed the podium to appreciate his members for being steadfast despite the allegations. The program, which started about 9 a.m., ended at 10:35. So the background to the story: Biodun Fatoyinbo has held Nigerians' headlines since Thursday morning when the interview of one of his alleged victims was made public. Busola Dakolo, a former member of COSA, told Why Niger in an emotional interview that she was 16 when Mr. Fatoyinbo RAPE'd her in Ilorin, Kwara State. The allegation prompted condemnation of the pastor, who has faced previous allegations of misconduct from 2 women. On Sunday, scores of protesters gathered at the church's headquarters in Abuja to march against Mr. Fatoyinbo. Simultaneously, protests were held in Lagos and Abuja. Despite the protest, thousands of church members still gathered to worship at the Abuja church. So now the exact words. So when he spoke, this is the exact words that he said. So the exact words: when he spoke, Mr. Fatoyinbo said he had been consulting with his mentors. He also announced the suspension of a planned program of the church. So here's the full text of his statement. Having you in my life, I am the most blessed pastor in the world. It took me a long time to get here today. I did not like what I saw today. Some of you came early. This is not what I want to put you through. I will only say something to you. If I was not a pastor of this church, I would be a member. I have been relating with all my mentors. You know, I am a man under authority. I really love to listen to them. So I am going to be giving a few instructions as time goes on. But the first instruction I want to give is, be that as it may with what is going on. I am not a desperate person to say we must have the program. With what is going on, I don't want to put any. I don't like. I am a peaceful person. You know that. So because of this, we are going to be having prayers every day for those who are interested to come. But we're not going to have the 7 days of glory. So there was grumbling. So it says grumblings there. So they were displeased, the church members, I'm assuming, because I don't want all these kinds of stuff. I think last month we prayed for a whole month and we do all of that. Please, let's people be of peace. So if you want to pray for us, you can come here and pray. But the regular 7 days, you don't want to put your guest speakers through that. You know, we love to host people properly. We don't want to do that. And you know, some of them, apart from the fact that the Lord spoke to me about that, my mentor said to me, this is what we need to do for a while. We step in and make sure we see what is going on. And you know what we stand for in Kosa. So please, let's obey God in our mentors and be a people of peace. Also, when you are going out, they are going to direct you how to go out. Please don't fight anybody. Don't reply anybody. You came to worship. They may say things to you. It doesn't matter. Please behave yourself and make sure everything is in place. So now this is not what this guy had to say as his first mounting of the pulpit after all this yawa bust in the obviously in the saga that is engrossed in with this Busola Dakolo and all of the allegations. You already know the background, so I don't have to rehash it. So the first thing I want to address is that I am surprised that this guy actually mounted the pulpit. So I am surprised that he mounted the pulpit. I am not surprised that he attended the church because he still had to put on a brave front, but he did not really need to mount the pulpit. If he needed to mount the pulpit at all, it will have been after another pastor has sermonized, and then he would then just make a short statement to acknowledge that he is in the throes of what he is in the throes of. So not to pretend that he's not aware of it or bury his head in the sand. So that's the one thing that I would allow. But for him to go on the pulpit and just talk all this gibberish and all this nonsensicals that really has no sense, that is spoken to his mentors, I wonder if his mentors are also like him, because anybody that is mentoring him and is doing this, then those mentors need to be questioned too, is my reckoning. So now this is the first missive. The second point that I want to make is that I feel that this guy, until this matter has been addressed, and is looking like, because there are now so many women coming out now to point fingers at him, because there's another video on my channel of another lady recounting an incident that her friend narrated to her, and the lady recounting is another prominent person, Stella. I can't quite remember her name. She's an actress, but the video is up on my channel. It will be shortly. So she's also narrating a similar incident that happened to her friend. We of course remember S.A. Walters, etc., etc. So this is a story that's been following this guy all the way through. And if you go watch that Busola Dakolo interview, you will be hard pushed not to believe what that lady had to say. And the interview is also on this channel, by the way, so you can watch it here. So if you go watch and listen to what that lady had to say, you will be hard pushed not to believe what she had to say, because it was detailed, it was specific, it was nuanced, and there were little bits of the storyline that can only really have been recounted in her mind as an incident that happened. It couldn't have been a made-up story, and she described it in in detail, and she was quite calm in the manner. At least she tried to hold herself together. The emotions did get the better of her once or twice, but you would expect that. In fact, I was expecting her to break down and cry a couple of times, but she just managed to hold herself together. So it's very difficult for you to listen to that interview and really walk away from it and say this person is not telling the truth. For me, it is substantially true, if not wholly true. So I'm not going to say everything that she said is true, but the substance of what she had to say had a strong element of truth to it. That's the feel that I got. Well, of course, I wasn't there to witness it, so it's just going by what she said, but I got the sense of truth being told in the way she narrated her account of events. So now, that's by the by. So now, for this Biodun Fatoyinbo character, it is my suggestion now that this guy gets the Cersei treatment from Game of Thrones season 5. You remember Cersei's walk of atonement when they were chanting shame, shame, and pelting her with tomatoes and whatnot. So now it is my suggestion now that this guy now, anytime that he appears in a social or public gathering, people should just stand up and clap their hands slowly and chant shame, 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 because it is now time for us to weaponize shame as a tool within the Nigerian space, because we don't have any laws in Nigeria, so we can then use the will of the masses as the law, and the only thing that we have then is to shame somebody out of society, to turn them into a pariah. So this guy needs to be ostracized, he needs to be shamed out of a polite company, and that are the first move for that. The precursor, the first step is to, whenever it turns up in a public social gathering, everybody stands up and you clap slowly, shame, shame, shame. So let us now shame him into confession and an apology to this lady, and we can then see what sort of atonement can be made, and if you can even spend a bit of time at Akirikiri, all the better. So conversations in the comment section is what I am inviting. Biodun's defense, are you buying it? What do you make of this whole saga? So come tell me what you think in the comment section. But before you come tell me what you think in the comment section, click on the red subscribe button so it turns gray, bell button, that way you're notified every time I drop a new video. Then come tell me what you're thinking in the comment section. So I'll leave you here, meet you in the comment section, but here I say peace.